It's Colin, of course. Um, and yeah, you're tuned in to Talking Ball for some reason. Just kidding. Thanks for being here. Again, I'm Colin, Talking Ball. This is Crap of the Day, episode number 8 or 9 or something like. We're on a roll. We're on a roll, baby. We're on a roll. And I just want to say thanks for being here. We, as you probably have seen with the thumbnail, are going to be talking a lot about Hugo Lloris today, as he was, part of Ange's 25-man, squad. But here to talk about that and other things with me today on Crap of the Day is a regular guest now, becoming kind of a fixture around here, a piece of the furniture, if you will. It's Queen Ellie Boyer. What's up?
Yeah, you're the sofa and I'm the armchair. Come
Perfect.
on.
Perfect. Yeah. Are you
I'm
good,
really
though?
well.
Everything good?
Yeah, lovely in London, really lovely and sunny. I think it's 28, 29 degrees, so it's really hot.
Let me see how many degrees Celsius it is here, because I don't know how to convert it.
I think it's around about 80, something like that. I think what you do, you double it and then you add 30. So it'll be 87, 88.
It's only 70 Fahrenheit here. What is it Celsius? Hold on. It's 21 degrees where I live.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's quite good as well.
yeah, nice. It's actually really nice.
Temperature.
I can walk outside in this and feel just fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad you're good. We're going to be joined by another guest, at least one more, here in just a bit. So that's exciting. But we're here to talk about a lot of things, and as you know, Ange had to turn in his 25-man list for players included in the squad, and there were some picks that surprised me and maybe you as well. But it was really this guy right here that I thought was kind of a weird one. I didn't expect him to be in there, to be completely honest. Let's just start off there. I mean, did you expect him to be included, or do you think he was probably gone?
Not really. It is a bit of a surprise, but it's not a shock. I wouldn't say it's a shock, it's a surprise, because Hugo's been a very good servant at the club. What went on at that Newcastle match, we'll never know, but that was under a different manager, Conte, and I'm sure that and sees the quality in having somebody who's experienced and calming, and he's a good character. Apart from that one blip, well, two blips actually when he went at Sonny.
Oh, popped off at Sonny. Yeah, they looked like they were gonna fight. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean that was maybe that was for the cameras. You never know, because
they could have planned that before. Said, "Hey, watch this. We're gonna."
But there was a lot of speculation what went on at that Newcastle match. Nobody really.
That was another thing I wanted to. Yeah, we'll save that for later. We're gonna speculate. We're gonna both speculate
really
on.
Knows anyway, so we'll save it for later. Bit of juice for later.
Exactly. You gotta keep it. You gotta keep everything locked and loaded.
Man.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. But yeah. It's sad the way that things kind of seem to have ended, and I hope that maybe him being included means that we'll see more of him, and maybe he'll get a proper send off. Because, like you said, he's been with the club for so long. He's been such a loyal servant to the club. Like, what's a player got to do to get a testimonial these days? I think is he at his 10 years?
It's usually 10 years, isn't it?
I was gonna say, yeah, and I know somebody else who's been here for 10 years. That hasn't got a testimonial either. So I'm just saying this guy needs to sort it out. And
2 years, 23 now. This is his 23rd year in charge.
He needs to sort it out and get some testimonials.
Trying a little bit harder with Ange. He's trying a little bit harder. So I hope he in the January sales that he does actually, strengthen our side even more. And not stop. Get a couple more would be lovely.
It would be a shame for him to see our progress so far and be like, oh well, that's good enough. Like, we're good. But back to Hugo Lloris. His childhood was an interesting one. He grew up very wealthy, which always good. Always, you know what I mean? That's in life. His parents both like worked in finance. He was born in some coastal city in France. I looked all this up earlier. I'm kind of forgetting the details, but he, and he, was a tennis player. His family was also. They all played tennis and were pretty good, and he was really good too. Ranked amongst the top in his age group for many years. And then one day before tennis practice, he and his buddies started to play some footy, some soccer, and he stepped in goal and never really looked back. I mean, shortly after, impressed somebody from the Nice Academy who came and saw him and scouted him. And then he went there and was there for a long time. Went to Lyon for a minute, just a bit, and then came to Spurs. And there's some weirdness over, I think, his transfer to Spurs, Ellie. This was right, yeah. You know what I mean, towards the beginning of when I started to get hugely invested. And so I don't remember the details, but I know that Levy got him for cheap.
Yeah,
I know that their guy was who's the name? What's the name of their chairman over there at whoever it is? He was mad.
Pretty cheesed off, wasn't he?
He was.
Jose. We've got to welcome you properly.
Good afternoon, Colin. Good afternoon, Ellie. Sorry, I've been working. I've just come out of a meeting.
I was going to say,
you've come out of a meeting.
You've got to earn your liras.
Oh, wow. Did you tell them that you have a meeting too? That you have
no, but I was trying to rush them. So I could get out of the meeting. I've been in the meeting since 3:00. So what's the time now? 20 to 5. So it's been a long meeting. So
nice.
Did you guys solve all the world's problems?
No.
And everything fixed?
No, that's the thing. We haven't. We had quotes, and we've given out the quotes, and they just went. The people balked at the quotes that we were given, and they've said, no, you need to go away. We can't get that through. You need to go away and find another quote. And you're like, hold on, find another quote, but you need the quality done. If you need the quality, what are you going to
pay for it?
If you skim on the quality, then you can bring the quote down. But if you need to bring the quality at the standard you want, then you can't bring the quote down any further. So anyway, I've left it. I've parked it, and I've left it for another day.
Daniel Levy needs to figure that out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree, so I had to park it and leave it for another day.
Hey, I don't blame you. That's good for your health too. If something, if you just
how,
give it.
How are you, Colin, today?
I'm good. I'm dreading going to work myself. I go to work myself in just a little under 2 hours, and hopefully everybody's internet works today. I work for an internet company, and people call me when their stuff is broken.
Right.
And I have to say, I'm so sorry that your stuff is broken. What can we do? And we can have somebody out there tomorrow. And they go, oh my God, tomorrow I'm gonna cancel. I want somebody out here 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And you have to, it's.
I wanted someone here 3 hours ago.
And exactly. And but it's fine. It's not too bad, and I get to work from home, which is great. Who doesn't like that? So I'm usually watching TV at the same time, or just enjoying myself. But hey, in the comments, we've got some wonderful people. We've got Niall Kane. What's up, my man? New subscriber, new to the fold. So very nice to have you, man. Thanks again for the subscription. True Love, what's up, True Love? Big love. I see you everywhere. Really nice to have you here on my show too. I feel honored. But Jose, we're talking about Hugo. We've kind of been talking about his early life, even pre-football. He was a tennis player. He was a rich kid. He was one of those rich kids. But that's fine. No hate. But he grew up and he played tennis, and one day played soccer, impressed, a little later he impressed the youth coach at Nice, was scouted and played there forever, moved to Lyon. And then do you remember, was there something about his transfer from Lyon to Spurs that was shady? Because I remember their chairman was mad, but I can't remember why.
I think all French people are mad.
Boom, and we're cancelled. Show
No,
canceled.
they're neighbours. I live in England, and then I've got France, and Spain's beside France, so I'm squashed with the French, whichever way I look at it. Whether I'm in Spain or in England, I'm squashed by the French. I can't recall.
The French are great people, and we love the French. We love French people.
We love your food.
Love French people on this channel.
We love Hugo Lloris.
Jose does too.
Watch L'Escargot. What's that? What's that? L'Escargot.
Edgar David.
Snails. No.
Edgar Davids was Dutch.
Yeah, I know, but he's got a French name, isn't he? Not so much on the Thierry Henry. Boo.
We have Hugo Lloris and we have Eric Dier.
Eric Dier.
There you go. Yeah, they can have him back. But this man here, what I forget what it was with the transfer. We got him for something like 10 million pounds. Is a good deal, really good deal. Almost too good of a deal. I feel like maybe he ran his contract down. If anyone in the comments knows, that'd be sweet. But I think he just ran his contract down maybe, and they were mad. But he wasn't with Lyon very long, and then his little young face. Well, here's his really young face playing tennis.
Oh my God!
He said he used to be a tennis star. Look at that goofy kid. And this is that's shortly before he began his soccer career, actually. And then here he is. This is actually during his Lyon days, right before Spurs. And then, obviously here's him with us, where he was captain and a super important, part of our squad for years and years and years. I just part of this show is to make sure that we don't poop all over this guy.
Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready, Colin?
Yeah.
Right. Lyon president Jean-Michel Aulas has blasted Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy for the manner in which he set about luring Hugo Lloris to England. The France international goalkeeper completed a switch to Spurs late on transfer deadline day with a 10 million fee believed to have changed hands. Lyon were reluctantly forced to bid farewell to the highly rated shot stopper with a medical past and personal terms agreed on Friday. The League One outfit have, however, reacted angrily to seeing a deal being pushed through, with Aulas accusing Levy of going back on the previous agreements between the two clubs. He said, "We have had people speaking all night with Daniel Levy. He talks a lot and goes back on what we agreed in writing."
Yeah, that sounds like Daniel.
Is that what you wanted me to look up? Because that's what I found.
That's perfect. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Thank you for that too. I didn't mean you had to look it up. I appreciate you doing it. That's the info. That's what we needed. And that doesn't sound anything like Daniel Levy. What are they talking about?
Daniel, never.
No.
We won't. Correspondent there.
But we won't. Yes, thank you. We won't turn this into a bashing of anybody show. And I want to make sure that Hugo doesn't get bashed unnecessarily or unfairly by anybody. I understand that. First of all, Alex Hilton's in the house. Steak. It's Alexander Basuma Hilton. He's been back in Basuma since day one, even when Conte did not. Anyway, So I mean, I know that we've got Vicario now. Things are looking pretty good under him. As our shot stopper and kind of quarterback from the back. He really can start things with the ball at his feet with a good pass. We can't forget Hugo was a hero for Spurs for a long time, for years. We were all afraid that he would get lured to another team, to another league. So yeah, I just want to reminisce with you guys a bit on Hugo and some of his best moments with us. And I know that I'm acting like he's gone. He's still here, and hopefully, I was telling Jose, I was telling Elliot earlier, I hope he gets a proper send off. I hope we give him another game, or something at White Hart Lane or something before he leaves, because it's pretty obvious that he's off. I was telling Elliot, I'm surprised that he's included. Are you surprised, real quick? Are you surprised that he's included in the?
No, I'm not surprised that neither has been included. Because it makes absolute sense. Because if you try to get deals and get them out the door in January, it makes it more palatable to other clubs if they're involved in your squad. They may not play, but they're actually in the squad. If you hadn't picked them for the squad, then people would have ended up turning around and saying, "Well, he's not worth what you're saying." I mean, they can go for a free. They can go for a free next summer, but if you can get, I don't know, a nominal agreement for them in January, you'd let them you part ways in January. But it happens a lot easier by them being in the squad, even if they don't play, than them not being in the squad.
Very, 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 very wise point there. Yeah, that's a good point. And if you can get them off the books in January, I mean, that's money saved in and of itself. Let alone that nominal transfer fee that you're speaking of. It's a really good point. Ellie, I hadn't thought of that, but Jose is here to always be kind of the smart, the voice of reason. I think you're the brains of our little club here, and me and Ellie are the beauty. No, I'm just kidding. We're all the brains. We're all the brains.
And we're all the beauty in our own different ways.
Heck yeah, exactly. See, this is a positive. We're a body positive channel here. Talking Ball, we are inclusive of everyone. Thanks for being here, everybody. Again, thanks for being here. You could be anywhere, but you're here talking Hugo Lloris with us. And in no order, you guys. Let's just kind of rattle off some of our favorite Hugo moments and saves.
Yeah. Oh my God!
I'll let you go first, Ellie. You got one?
Yeah, I loved him in the Champions League semi-final against Ajax because he was so cool, calm, and collected, and he kept that defence focused. He made some really good saves. His kicking was much, much better in that match for some reason. I think he clicked in that it was a very important match to win, and I just loved him. And the other one was that Manchester United game that we actually lost 2-0. And he made the most saves ever that a goalkeeper has made in the first half. Yeah, in the first half of any game, he made the most saves. And he was just incredible. World-class saves as well. Not just like some goalies, they make it look harder or they do it for the
Vicario kind of, I feel like, is that sort of guy. No offense to him, but he enjoys to kind of throw himself around a bit and be a little theatrical. I like it, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
It's the Italian in him, he's got a showman in him, hasn't he? But
I like it.
With Lloris, right, that game was absolutely fabulous. And there's many, many matches, but I think those two stand out for me because of the saves that he made, the important saves in the semi-final, right, when he could have easily have switched off. He didn't. He was very focused for the whole of that match, like our defence were. But you know what? The defence needs to be led by the goalie as well. With his communication was really good then, not so good in recent years, and he's made a few gaffes. But other than that, he's been a very good servant for us. Very, very good.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, excellent. Like when he could have gone other places. Whenever he was at the peak of his career, he chose to be with Spurs. I like that about him. That goes a long way with me, obviously. And those are all good moments that you brought up. That United game, just a shame that our defense was so leaky that he was getting peppered with so many shots. But yeah, you're right. He did perform very admirably. Got us to that Champions League final. Very good. A very good one. It's awesome. Yeah. And again, thank you, Papa Hugo. We appreciate you. We're saying a little prayer to the man after these. But Jose, what do you got? Do you have any moments that stick out for you under Hugo?
I mean, I'm watching them at the moment, so I can remind myself. Right. So you got Hugo's Lloris penalty save from Patrick Aubameyang, or Pierre-Emile Aubameyang in the North London derby.
Yes.
I literally said to somebody sitting next to me, Hugo doesn't say penalties. This is going in. I said those words. So sorry, Hugo.
He's definitely saved one in the North London derby, which is a great save from Pierre-Emile Aubameyang. Yeah. I've just watched him make an absolute worldy save when Tottenham played Real Madrid in the Champions League at home. And he's made a worldy save from Karim Benzema at point blank range with a header.
Yeah, I remember that one.
He saved a 35-yard free kick going into the postage stamp from James Ward-Prowse. that I've just watched as well.
He was.
He saved the penalty. I'm watching now from Jamie Vardy when we played Leicester, and this is when we were playing at Wembley. So I mean, I can rattle on because I'm watching it all live now.
It's nice. It's nice
I
though.
remember the one against Man City as well in the quarter-final of the Champions League at home. He saved from Aguero, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. That man, I was watching that match with Nashville Spurs. Shout out Nashville Spurs. But I was watching that with them, and they get rowdy over there. First of all, and oh my gosh, that was the most tense and insane match. That was the one with the VAR involvement and like the was or wasn't Sterling. I think it was Sterling offside. Yeah, that was a wild one, a really wild one.
I was in Lanzarote for that game, and I was watching it in a pub, and there was loads of Spurs fans, and it was amazing. And we got told off for making too much noise.
No, not you.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I don't believe that's possible.
He came over to me and told me as well. The bar lady.
Rude.
It's football.
You're spending money there.
Yes, I was, and a lot of money.
Yeah, so
for everybody.
Sheesh. Yeah. Hey, again, I want to say we got 6 people that says watching, and to all 6 of you, you are family. We love you. We hope you're having a wonderful day, and you're a good person, and you matter, and you're great. So thanks for tuning in. We really enjoy having you here. But to everybody watching this on the replay, thanks for being here. Also, we're all part of the Talking Ball Army, the Talking Ball Nation. We'll think of a better name. Neither of those are very good. We'll fix it. But guys, all of those Hugo saves you rattled off were amazing. He was just such a good. First, he came and he was like the sweeper keeper, and that was like his whole. I don't want to say gimmick. Gimmick's not the right word, but that was his thing. He was the sweeper keeper. Then he was just a good shot stopper. His distribution was poor. It was the narrative. But man, I think that he was so close to being just a complete goalkeeper. He really could do it all in the game, the modern game, except for playing out from the back. But so good.
I always felt shot stopping in his very early years. I think for the last 3 years he's been on decline with shot stopping. But I always felt shot stopping was quite good. But I've always, ever since day one, even when I watched him playing for Lyon before he even came to us, I've always thought to myself, him a goalkeeper, he's really short for one, isn't he? Yeah, and I've always thought that he was a small fella for a goalkeeper. How tall is he?
6'1".
Do you know what? I'm surprised at it because he doesn't even look 6 foot to me.
No, he doesn't. No. I think he lied. No. I think they're lying.
I'm 5'10". I think we're the same size.
I was going to say, because he's always looked on the small side to me. I mean, I look at other teams and their goalkeepers, and you look him in the goal. Say that they're standing up for a penalty. You look him in the goal, and you think, "Oh bloody hell, his head can touch the crossbar."
You know what it is with Lloris as well? He's very slender. He's so slim, and he doesn't look imposing in the goal, does he? He's not like a Schmeichel or say, I don't know.
He must have springs in his legs. He can really just fling himself. At those shots, it's kind of amazing. I would like to see him at other sports. Track and field. He could do that long jump.
I'll give you. Can I give you both one? Right. Let's say Lloris didn't have these issues that he wanted to leave Tottenham and whatever. Let's say Lloris was still in the good books. If he was in goal against Fulham, would he have saved penalties more than Forster did?
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Would have.
Absolutely.
Got more instincts, and he's quick and agile.
He would have. Yeah. He would have not saved the one that went up to keeper's left. But he might have saved him. Yeah, that was incredibly taken. But he might have stopped one of the ones down to the left. Yeah. I do think so.
Because some of the shots against Fulham, they were in the back of the net, and Fraser Forster was still going. He was still going down.
He fell on his bum each time. He just fell right on his butt, just backing kind of like a baby learning to walk. is what he looked like to me.
I've just remembered another match she was fabulous in against Fulham at home from Mitrovic. He made 2 world-class saves. It was unbelievable. And the whole of that stand went, whoa, you know, because they were fabulous.
Yeah.
And even on the commentary, they complimented him and bigged him up because of those 2 saves.
Mitrovic is a hell of a striker. I wanted him at Spurs as Kane backup for a long time, but I don't think he ever wanted to be a backup player. But yeah,
No.
I mean, yeah, he's a hell of a striker, and the fact that Hugo was able to deny him, you're right, it's just another check mark on my list of reasons why I love the man.
He's one of those old-fashioned strikers, isn't he, Colin?
He is.
You know,
he is
like Diego Costa. They get in your face. They don't really.
He's a lot like Diego Costa. He is the budget Diego Costa. That is a very good. That is a very, very good comparison.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Yeah.
Tommy from Tommy Talks Ball and I both were clamoring for him. Whenever it looked like Kane was leaving the first time, we said, let's get him in for the experience and him as the older option, and then have a younger guy. Obviously, Kane stayed, and you know what's happened. But yeah, that was what we wanted. Again, we've got some really great people in the chat. Oh my gosh. Good morning back to you, sir. Jacob, United Spurs of America, best and biggest Spurs YouTube channel in America. Says big up. We've got Bobby freaking K in the house, or what as I call him, Special K. He says big up Colin, Ellie, Jose, and the chat. Sorry, Colin. Hopefully free tomorrow to join. We'll be here, buddy. You know, the crap of the day happens every day. And, you know, we hit all the important topics in football, or the ones that I deem important, at least. And it'll be great to have you. Love to have your input on things. Your talk. What up? What up? Yeah, all we needed was one stop from Forster. Yet there he was, diving the same way every damn time. Yes. Yeah. And he just...
He didn't even dive.
He didn't even dive. Like if he just dove one way, he would have had at least a 50, not a 50% chance, I guess a 30% chance of saving it. They could have gone down the middle, but just what I mean. Like he didn't even really dive. He just
fell down on the floor, like on
those little stutter steps got him. And I feel like they shouldn't have. A keeper of his ability and experience. He should have done a lot better. But anyway, we could harp on that forever. But no, Lloris would have definitely at least attempted and looked like he was going to maybe stop one of those, even if he didn't get it. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Yes. Agreed. Why change the keeper? If you're going to change people out, leave the keeper the same. We need Vicario to get gelled with the squad. Anyway, I'll stop harping on that. So Hugo Lloris, he's better than. I honestly think that he's still better than Fraser Forster. Do you guys think that he has a chance of being our second string keeper this season? Or is Forster definitely the choice? What do you guys think? Yeah,
I agree because he's more agile and he's got more experience. Just a better. He
had a bad season under Conte, for sure, or at least a down season in his high lofty standards. But I do think that Fraser Forster is a big old falling oak tree. You know what I mean? And he's not. I don't know, Jose. What's the consensus down there? You're all the way down there, buddy. I miss you. All the way down there. I can't.
My consensus about who's the better keeper.
Yeah, and who's gonna take that spot as the second string keeper? Is it gonna remain Fraser, or are we gonna see Hugo?
It would be an unbelievable U-turn.
You frozen?
Oh no, it would be an unbelievable U-turn though, for sure. But yeah, I agree though. Beer talk, it was embarrassing. We'll get Jose back in a second. Let me get him off there. I don't like to leave him up when he's froze.
He can come back
in. But he'll come back. He'll come back. We'll get him.
I think that meeting went on a bit too long for him, didn't it?
Yeah, he's having a long day, everybody. Oh, and he's back. He's back. Here he comes, everyone.
Come on, Jose. Come on.
Do we want him back? Do we want to bring Jose back in, everybody? It's up to you guys. No. It's Jose.
Hello.
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
So yeah, but you got I've said it'd be unbelievable if he was to do a U-turn on what he's already said. Hugo said in the summer or at the end of last season he wanted out of the club. He hasn't got his move. And then Ange Postecoglou clearly said, well, if he wants out of the club is what he's going to get. And he's not in my plans at all. So it'd be an unbelievable U-turn for him to be in his plans. So therefore, for me, the number 2 is clearly for the time being Forster, although that is an area that we need to address probably next summer.
Yeah. I can see what you mean. And I don't think that Ange is the type of guy to really go back on his word very much. So good point. Good point there. It's just Hugo's so much better. I mean, I wonder what happened this offseason with his move away that he was, looked like he was guaranteed to get at points. He had some concrete offers from what I understand. What I heard was just that he was upset about not being like guaranteed starters at places. Yeah. Is that his downfall? I mean, so because he's not a guaranteed starter, he's now sitting on the bench, getting no time. I'm sure he's practicing, keeping his skills up and staying sharp, but he's not in any shop window now. No teams are seeing him play. He's not getting the chance to impress a manager if he was to go to a team where he was sharing that first choice, with somebody, he could impress the manager in training and matches and then force his way to being just the sole first choice. But yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's just ego. He knows he's a good player, but did he dig his own grave in a way by this whole like demanding to be a first choice business? Whoever wants to take this one first, I can go either way. Jose.
So I was reading the comments. Sorry, Spear talk. Sorry, he was talking about Lloris should go and coach the youth and let Forster be second. I don't agree. I think that Forster, that Lloris, if he was to come back coaching in any capacity, it shouldn't be now. It should be in the future because he's cut his bridges at the moment by saying he wanted to go. Something happened at the end of last season, and I think that having him around the players at the moment could be seen as being slightly toxic. So therefore, I would not have him as a coach there at the moment. That's something that I'd consider in the future, but not for the time being.
We're gonna actually talk too about a little bit about that Newcastle match too. Yeah. So keep that in your mind.
And then you've got Jacob. The reason why we've got 5 keepers, Jacob, is because the squad that we've built in the last 3-4 years has been scattergun. We haven't bought players. We've never had a plan, and now we've ended up with 5 goalkeepers, 2 or possibly 3 that will never see the light of day in this season at all.
Yeah. We've had them here for years, Brandon Austin and
Brandon Austin's just making decent money, having fun, going to training. That's going to be a pretty cool for him. You know what I mean, though? I wouldn't be that upset, I don't think, if I was living his life. You train, you get paid. Like I said, I bet he's on, I don't know, what do you think he's on a week?
Probably on about 30.
Oh my God, that's amazing for doing. There's nothing at stake. That's incredible.
But I think they're both Tottenham boys, isn't they? Brandon Austin and Whiteman have come through the ranks and now. Yeah. But regardless that they've come through the ranks, surely they're very young, so they must be ambitious and they must want to be playing first team football.
Yeah.
Real quick, while we talk about first team football, this is an ambitious man who I think could play first team for Spurs himself. We've got him in the back room. First time on my show.
I know it is Adrian, isn't it?
Stroker.
All right, guys, I'm eating a sweet. Don't ask me a question yet.
It's okay. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope it's something tasty. But it's really great to have you on.
It's the mint with a bit of toffee in the middle, one of them types.
Ooh, all right, yeah, I can get behind that. Sounds tasty.
How you guys doing? What are you talking about? I've just got in from shopping actually.
Talking about Lloris.
I had 2 injections, COVID booster, and a flu jab.
Oh, I got COVID a couple weeks ago, so good on you for getting that booster, man. It's real out there. But yeah, we've been talking about Hugo Lloris, how he's been included in the 25-man squad, although he's fallen from grace at Spurs, doesn't even look like second choice. We're talking about first, Adrian, would you keep him as second choice over Big Frage, or would you keep Forster as second choice? What do you think?
Hugo's a better goalkeeper than Forster, even at his age now. You would have to keep him. I mean, he's not well with their feet. I'm not sure who's better with their feet. I think they're both about the same, aren't they? But Hugo's a better goalkeeper. I mean, obviously, we're not privy to what happened at Newcastle, whether there's a big bust up and all that. All the rumours suggest there are, but nothing's come out. When it does come out, it'll be long gone, and it'll be unimportant because it'll be in the past, won't it? So it won't matter. I'm not against him being in the squad. You've got to make the numbers up. I think there's a good chance that come January, 16 games to go to there, by the way, come January that, then perhaps he will go then, and Dyer as well has made up. Perhaps they'll go then, and they're in the squad, so they're actually sellable. Remember, we sold Ericsson in January, and we got 16 mil, didn't we? So we might get a few quid for them. If not, it doesn't matter. This is their last seasons anyway,
Yeah, that's the same point too. Jose made the same point about them being in the squad, making them kind of intrinsically worth more money, which is a good point to make. That very good point. So real quick, Bobby K's comment. He said how after the entire summer, Lloris has a place in the squad is beyond me. He refuses to accept deals. He didn't want to go to Nice, supposedly to avoid stopping a young goalkeeper's progress, but he stayed here to slow down Vicario. And I mean, that's saying, Bobby, that's saying that he does get in the squad even. I think Vicario is clearly first choice. I don't think they'll slow him down, but I know what you mean. It is weird that he's included, but I think it's like these two gentlemen here at the bottom have said. I think it's to increase their sell value, hopefully at least.
The other thing to look at is look at the group last year, the motley crew that you had last year. So you had
Bobby K, mate.
You had Matt Doherty, you had Harry Kane, Dyer, Lloris. Well, this has been carved up, but yet two of them are within the squad. Now, is that beneficial to us or not? You've got 3 new captains, so there's a new inner circle, and you still got these 2 players around the club.
It's true. Maybe we need to cut the head off the Hydra, and leave it as just a one-headed dragon and one inner circle, I guess. Yeah, we don't want another faction forming and unrest and people come. That's a good point you're making. And I don't think they're gonna play a big part in the team at all. But I see you're saying that just having them around is kind of a danger, maybe to squad morale.
Yeah.
Surely, and don't call me Shirley Jacob in the chat, right? You're going to keep your head down if you're those, aren't you? In the hope that you get a game, and if you want to get a move, if you get a game, you're going to want to do well. You don't want vibes coming out of the club or the training ground that you're causing problems in any way, shape, or form, do you? So, I don't think they're a threat at all. I think Dyer might even hope he's got another last chance, but he's too slow for this system. Lloris, if he was kept on as a coach, it wouldn't bother me at all. I think he's done good service, and I want to see him, be given a good send-off. So season now, he's in the squad. He can get the send-off he deserves. And look, and let's be fair to Dyer, right? He's not an awful ogre, right? He's not good enough for Spurs, but he's not a bad player because basically you come through academies and you come through all the levels of the under 15s upwards, under 18s, 17s, 16s, 19s through, even though he did his early football in Portugal, right? You come through. You don't get in the Premier League if you're awful. I mean, and you have to have the skill set,
You want to tell that to Jacob. Jacob wants to punch him in the face.
And I know that David Harris would probably be cringing, and Jake would be cringing at what I'm saying here now, probably. But you know, Dyer's been with us nearly 10 years. He deserves to leave, but he deserves a bit of respect. When he was under Poch, right, he had some man of the match performances in centre midfield, either alongside Wanyama or Dembele and all that, right? So, stop the cat. Jacob, behave yourself. You're stalking me again, right? So,
I agree with Jacob.
He's ubiquitous, Jacob. He's everywhere, right? So, yeah. So, no, I mean, even Dyer deserves to go. And what you find with these players is when their careers are over, 3 years later, when they come back to stadium, all the love comes back from suddenly, doesn't it? You know, I mean, you look at Alan Shearer, England, greatest goal scorer we've had in this country, and the stick he took, you know, I mean, the stick that he took from Chelsea, like, you know, when they come back suddenly later, their careers are all of a sudden like, oh, the fans love them again. But fans don't love players when things aren't going well for your team, and they'll look for a scapegoat, and there's always one or two they dip out, you know.
Yeah,
So,
but
Jacob says here that he doesn't
for a reason, aren't they? They're scapegoats for a reason. They're not scapegoats for the sake of it. They're scapegoats because they've made bad errors and played awful. I wouldn't say Eric Dyer has played awful for us all his career, but the last
he was a fine player at the beginning.
Poor. He wasn't bad. He wasn't a bad.
He was a Højbjerg. You know how you like Højbjerg for his fire and for his like.
Højbjerg is much better than Dyer.
Dyer was, but I mean, Dyer was
better.
that. Dyer was the fire and flame and the. Remember the interview where he said, you know, people talked about Tottenham, we hear it,
like that.
and I don't like it. And,
I didn't see him like the fire. I saw him as just an average footballer who didn't really.
At the beginning of his time, I literally said to people, and I'm embarrassed now, but I said it, that I think he's the last hard man in the Premier League right now. That he's the last Keane-esque player that would take a player on. I saw him, get down and get in people's faces. I know that now that's a hilarious thing to have said, but he really was a hard-nosed, hard-hitting.
If he was marking me, I play football 3 times a week against some bullies. I play against some bullies. If he was marking me, I'd laugh in his face.
Yeah. Even back when he first came to the club, you think under Pochettino,
he runs away from danger and he doesn't put himself in the firing line.
This is the guy that ran up on the stands to go fight some guy during like a match. He could have gone to jail.
Brother. That's to protect his brother because his brother was being abused.
He's probably as hard as diarrhea, and that don't come in lumps. You know what I mean? So
I'm just saying. When he first came to the squad under Pochettino, he really was. Poch deployed him and said, "Hey man, go knock some people over, go hit them." And I think he did. And I think and there's that one interview. I'll see if I can find the video.
I think Dyer's mistake. Was when they played in the World Cup in 2018, he was still playing as a centre midfielder. And I think he saw the players that were coming through and he thought, you know what, I ain't going to have a chance of playing centre midfielder. I'm going to have to reinvent myself somewhere else. And he decided to become a centre back. Now, why he did that, I'll never know, because in 2018, he weren't better than John Stones back then. So why would he think he's got a chance? And to be fair, he weren't better than Maguire back then either. So
I don't think it was England. I think you summed the thing up, but you summed it up from a Spurs perspective, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, he thought in the Spurs are going to improve their midfield, and he's not going to get in it, and that's why we need to go in the back three. To be honest, to Dyer and Davis, to add him to the equation, is the season before last when Sonny got the Golden Boot. Davis and Dyer actually had very good seasons that year. They both had very good seasons. But the problem with them is they can't keep it up. They just can't maintain a consistent level. And that's the big problem. And like you rightly said, Dyer's not proactive. He backs away. And when you put your arms to your side, we get that, hoping that if you get hit with the ball, the ref won't go to the VAR and be given a handball because you've tried to stop the ball from hitting your arm. But where Dyer was actually putting his arm, it's not a natural position anyway, is it? It's not natural to walk back with your arms behind your back. That's not natural either. So you don't know if the R would go against him or not if he'd got hit there. But look, no worries.
Right, so guys, I found the video I was looking for.
Davies had a very good season. I would say Davies had a very, very good season that season. But Dyer, he was a little bit better, but he wasn't a great deal better. No,
Here's
I wouldn't give him
the video.
props like that. I wouldn't give him props that he had a really good season. I think he was a little bit better. Yeah.
Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to see it?
I wouldn't put my mortgage on him. Just put it that way.
Be careful what you say.
Whoa, that was loud. Boom. At the beginning, he said people talk about Tottenham, and I don't like it. And then he used to 2-foot people. I mean, he used to be. I don't know. I missed that.
Yeah.
Where's he gone?
You know what? He should be in his peak of his season now, shouldn't he? I don't know where Colin's gone. He's just lost his internet. But he should really be. He's only 28, isn't he? Eric Dyer. He should be at his peak now in this time of his life. This should be his peak years.
He might be only 28, Ellie, but he's aged a few people that watched him play.
Yeah, very true. I'm sure I've got a few more wrinkles around my eyes.
Right. So if he's 28 and he's going to reach his peak, then Ellie, what position is he going to reach his peak at? Because he's not a centre. He's not a centre half, and he ain't a centre midfielder.
No.
So where's he going to reach his peak at? Where's he going to fit at? And where is he going to go?
On the
at
bench.
the end of the day.
On the bench somewhere.
If you remember, he came to Spurs and played at right back and scored that last-minute winner against West Ham.
Yeah, that's right. That was his debut, wasn't it?
If you're playing
West Ham, with
any team that plays a low block, he could do a job for him. He's not good enough for us, though. We've evolved.
No.
We're moving up.
Yeah.
We're moving on.
Stoke City. Eric Dyer.
Maybe someone like Leicester.
I was thinking more of Arsenal City.
Leicester or Southampton, even in the Championship, help them out of that league. That he'll do a job for them.
That's a good point. He could be. Yeah, that's a good point. He could join up with his mate. Yeah. Oh my gosh, and that would give. And that is the two players that Jacob wants to fight. So he would then have them both in one place. Yeah. He could just show up, and that's a good point. Jacob, what do you think about that idea?
Jacob wants to fight who? Dyer and who else?
Winks, Harry Winks.
He towers over both of them.
He said they could both fight him at the same time, though. Is the deal?
He'd probably just hold down Winks' head like that from his height and just jab away at Dyer with the other hand.
We're not condoning any violence here. You know,
we were gonna sell tickets, and we were gonna sell tickets, and then the proceeds were gonna go to the team and to getting some more players.
I'm not condoning. I'm coaching, Ellie. I'm coaching.
I forgot the banner. Sorry, the banner down there hasn't been up. Everybody just says that be nice to each other today, and today's your day. So go out there and get it, everybody. Again, thank you for tuning in. The show is not over, but.
Have you discussed the Richarlison situation?
Well, a bit yesterday, but let's hit it again. I'd love to hear your point of view on it. I think that
when you get a situation like this, you have to choose your words carefully, don't you? And be careful what you say in case you phrase things in the wrong way which you didn't intend.
Yeah, you're fine.
My personal viewpoint is I wouldn't play him. Now the reason is because I don't know from what's been said whether his issue is just frustration because he's out of form, or 2, whether it's a psychological problem he's got, or 3, if it's a mental health issue he's got, right? Now, I don't think it's helped. I don't want to sound insensitive. I don't think it's helped that he's come out and said what he did and he publicised it because by doing that, I think it only exacerbates the problem. It involves all the fan base and the own devices that they can be. And so that's my phone. I'm going to turn it off, sorry. I'm not going to take this call.
Wow, guys, I am more important than Adrian's phone call. So just let you know.
Adrian's in mid-flow, so he's got to go, isn't he? He's got to go.
Cook, Adrian, cook.
The Adrian train.
I mean, you get the argument you could play for it from the player's point of view, let him play for it, blah, blah, blah. But then you've got to look at it from the club's point of view as well. And like in any business, a lot of business, they have to do a risk assessment. If Richarlison was to play against Sheffield United, missed 2 sitters and we lost 1-0, there would be an outcry, wouldn't it? On the other hand, he could play and score 2 goals and they could be the winners. But we don't know, do we? It's unknown territory. So it's a difficult situation. He should have kept quiet, basically. He should have kept quiet and not said nothing at all. Because I think it's only... then you could say, if you want it to be callous, well, why go public? And if you look at last year, after the season, Dyer and Son went public, said they were both carrying injuries, right? Would they have gone public saying they were carrying injuries if we'd finished top 4 and won the FA Cup? So why are they saying it? Now, you cannot look. You mustn't doubt people when they come out with these problems. You know, otherwise that is being too insensitive. But you're entitled to sort of like think about, muse on them, like, and question things from all angles. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that in one way. I wouldn't say in the worst case scenario, Richarlison would be using it as an excuse and sort of pleading to be played, right? But you can think that, but you can't say that because it's not the done thing. It's too insensitive, and you get accused of being callous. I think Ange's got no choice but to leave him out. If he plays him, not a problem. I trust Ange, right? But because I don't know the full extent of what Richarlison's problem is. I mean, I know he's not in the best form. That's all I know. I don't know if he's it's just. I hope it's just frustration, and that's it. And I hope it's not a psychological problem, and I certainly hope it's not a mental health problem. But let me ask you three, all of you, would you play Richard? Mind you, and then you got to look at the fact that we won without him at Burnley, right? Would you change the team anyway? And if he isn't picked, you know what the media are going to do? They're going to come back to this angle. Will creep up. They'll try and squeeze it in somehow, right? As they always do with Spurs. So, but we've got a fit squad tomorrow, barring the outstanding injuries. I'm not sure how Gil and Sessegnon are doing. I think they're very close to fitness, or they might be just fit and need to be match fit. But so, would you three play him tomorrow?
You pick the best.
You've got an excuse to say no. Say on the you can say on the Burnley result no, right? Fair enough. But would you play him tomorrow?
You pick the best side to play the match, and the best side does, regardless of what happens come out this week. The best side, on the evidence that we've seen so far, is with him not being down the middle. And that's the team that I'd go with. Before what happened this week, I would have gone with, when we played against Burnley, after the Burnley game, I said, Son's got to stay down the middle. Now, that's not changed my mind at all because we've had an international break and Richarlison's now got issues. I would stick with picking the best 11, and the best 11 doesn't include Richarlison.
Yeah. I agree with that. But you know what? I would also talk to the player, see where he's at in terms of his mental state, find out all the details. As a good manager, that's what Ange would be doing because he is a man manager. And then I still wouldn't play him just for the very reasons what Jose's just said. He can't take Sonny's place. He's just scored a hat-trick. Why would you drop Sonny? Because that's like sending the wrong message to the fans as well. Like you're putting Richarlison, who's come out and said he's got problems, and then you're putting him in front of Sonny, who's just scored a hat-trick. So that's sending the completely wrong message to the team and to the fans. So no, he doesn't play. But whether he makes the bench, that's up to Ange once he's had that chat.
As a reasonable employer, from the comments that he's made this week, there are issues in the background. And the issues were probably there. No disrespect. The issues have probably been there from the way he sounded in his comments. The issues have been there for 4 or 5 months. So this is just a build-up, and he's probably just a kettle that just exploded at the end now. And therefore, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that has got to be done with him to get him back in the right place.
This is the Beer Talk's got it right here. Richie on the bench, 7 late when the game's already wrapped up, because honestly, we should be able to have this match wrapped up. I do fear that it'll be harder than we expect with them playing long balls behind our high line. But anyway, I don't think he has got a mental health issue because he turned around and said he wants to see a psychologist when he comes back. So I think it's frustration. So maybe if a sports psychologist is the right person to see, then maybe that's what he just needs to see, and that's it. But good suggestion, keep him on the bench. By the time we're 5 goals up, I'm going to the game. By the time we're 5 goals up, bring him on. Yeah. You get a penalty, let him take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure. Remember Soldado, how bad we wanted him to score. This is feeling kind of the same. We want it so bad.
I mean, reading between the lines, the comments that he's made are laid with the fact that the person that used to his agent, he's grown up. He's been with his agent since he was like in his teens, and he's grown up with him. He's like a close family. They work together. He split up from his agent about 4 or 5 months ago, and
said something about getting away from people who were only about his money.
Yeah, and then getting away from the people that only wanted to go after his money. So there's issues in the background that have happened to him, or he feels that have happened to him, and he's not been right for the last 4 or 5 months. He said that himself. So there is the conversation to be had as a reasonable employer. There is a conversation to be had, but you can only put him back on the pitch when it's the right time. Subs, bench, or first team when it's the right time. Because as you said earlier, Adrian, the first thing that's going to happen, fans, now that he's come out, it's all public, the fans are going to be on his back. Not our fans, but the away fans. And they'll give him abuse.
They will. Because football's a cruel world sometimes. You know, you've been in sections at the Grand where they say all sorts of explicits. And that's just our players, let alone the opposition's players, you know.
Yeah, and he said, good point, Beer Talk. Either way, though, being applauded and feeling supported is good for anything, for your mental health, whether you're struggling or not. You know, it's always good. So, yeah, if he does come on, I hope we cheer. You know, we applaud him, and I hope that he hears our fans. You know, supporting him. He needs it right now, regardless of exactly what's going on.
But depending on the conversation that happens now at Hotspur Way between him returning and tomorrow's game, he may not be on the bench tomorrow. That's the conversation that needs to be happening, and then they'll make a decision based on what's happened with him and what he says in his meeting. That'll determine whether he even makes the bench tomorrow.
You think you really? I don't see a situation where he doesn't, but I could be completely off here. But to me, it seems like a given that he'll be there. But maybe, I mean,
if he walks out with the players and sits on the bench, the crowd will really get behind him because Spurs are like that. We even got behind Saka when he was facing the racial abuse playing for England. So the fans at Tottenham, they will get behind him. So that would boost him. That would boost him when he goes and sits. And they'll probably chant his name a few times as well. You know?
He's got a lot of fans that like him. There's an awful lot of fans that have got his shirt name on the back as well. And they sing that number 9 song for him. So they've got his back. But like...
He's a good player.
As well.
In fact, he's a very good player. And what fans are too quick? They're too quick to dismiss things when players are out of form. Oh, he's crap. He isn't crap. As I said earlier about other players. He played at Watford. He did well. He played at Everton. He was their best player. And like I said, you do not come through the ranks of football and end up with Brazil's number 9 if you're a crap player. But his game is shattered. His touch is gone. And when your touch is gone, you look absolutely awful, don't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the touch was there. He had it before. He scored the goals he scored for Brazil. He scored some outstanding
goals for Everton.
Brilliant
goals for Everton.
He's not crap. People say he ain't a 60 million player. I don't care what the valuation of a player is.
Yeah, we didn't make the price or pay it.
I couldn't care if he cost like 600 million. Right, I'm not interested. I don't pay the price. I pay part of it for my season ticket. But I mean, like, I am, I'm not interested in price tags. Right, I'm interested if the player's good enough. To me, Rice is an excellent player, an excellent footballer. Is he worth 100-odd million? Not in a million years, in my opinion. But we don't fix the prices, so people shouldn't sort of slag a player off because he's 100 million. That's not why you bought him, because of the amount of money he costs. Opening's good. The price equals quality, because it doesn't. It doesn't. In loads of cases, it doesn't. Look at Ndombele, right? Price doesn't equal quality, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't equal.
Cook, Adrian, you're 100% right. I'm behind you right all the way. Keep it up. Yeah.
One thing that Richarlison's good at, he's fantastic at pressing, and he's really good at finding pockets of space. But sometimes our players, they're not finding him. They're finding other players, and it's a shame because he makes really good runs. And by the time they've passed to him, he's strayed offside. So what he's got to do is
he's got to play with his back to goal. He's not a player that should be playing with his back to goal.
He's got to be more clever, staying onside as well, ending his runs.
You utilise him because you're playing away at Brentford, right? and you force them back, and they're forced into a low block, you want a bit of physicality in the centre of the penalty area when a team are playing a low block. We know Sonny can track the ball. He's got good touch and all that, but he's not really the greatest at hold up play in the centre of the box, is he? And he can get brushed off the ball. We've all seen when he gets brushed off the ball, you know. And the likes of Charleston, the likes of Kulu gets him, and Kulu's done more running, I think, than any player in the Premier League this season, right? Yeah. So although he's only got a goal and assist, you know, you need the effort, and you wonder if you take at certain games, I'm talking, if you take Richarlison out of the team, you might end up putting a lot more pressure on your players defensively, you know. So we obviously don't know that until you see it in practice, but like I think that would have the effect. No, he gives you 100% effort. You can't fault him for effort, even when things are going wrong for you. And he does press really well, and he'll press for 90 minutes for Charleston. So, I hope he gets his mojo back. I want him to get his mojo back. You know?
Yeah.
I think he will. But the question is, will it be with Spurs? And that I'm not sure of. I think that he'll go on and he'll have a successful career, of course, 100%. But I don't know if there's time to let him get his confidence back here, unless, like we've been saying, it's at the end of games, you know, well, that we've already wrapped up. Hopefully we can continue to do that. If we can, and we can get a couple goals in, then yeah, I think he can work his way back into the team. And I would love that. Like everybody's saying, you don't suddenly turn into just like a shitty footballer. You know, we did see it is sometimes too big of a jump at times, but I think the system that we're playing is a system that could work for him. He's in a weird position where his touch isn't terrible, of course, like we were saying, but it isn't great. He doesn't have like Berbatov first touch.
No,
you know,
well,
he's not
nowhere near.
right, exactly. But you know what I mean, though. It's not his best attribute, I guess we could say. But he is good, like Ellie said, at running in behind it, getting those runs in. So he could be successful. And a good backup to Sonny, I think. I think honestly, Sonny has earned that starting spot whenever Sonny's tired, you know, or we've run him into the ground. We put, yeah. I mean, Richarlison, I guess he's got to stay really, right, and be used as that backup striker until January, and hopefully by then he's improved and shown that he can be there too.
I hate that term backup. You know, when people talk about backup with Tottenham Hotspur, probably the 10th, one of the top 10 richest clubs in the world, and we talk about backups and bringing in backup players. I mean, it's just. I guess
option.
I know what you mean. Obviously, I'm not popping back, but I just there's terms I hate. You know, there's terms I hate. Yeah. False number 9, right? I'll ask coaches. I played amateur football. I was crap, right? I've got to be honest. Right back, right wing. Right, I was crap. Right? But
nice. I played as a central defender, sweeper sometimes too.
But you know, I hate the term false number 9. Ask a coach or ask a coach. Ask anybody. Ask them what a false number 9 is. They can't tell you. And the other term, I understand it. I understand the term wingback, right? It's another term that I don't like. And the reason, see, I'm old school anyway, as you've gathered, right? But
I like it. I'm loving the old school.
I don't like the term wingback. I get it when you're playing 5 at the back and the 2 fullbacks look like wings in a military maneuver. I get all that. But it ends there. Because if being a wingback means that you're absolved from defensive responsibility, you shouldn't be in a team in the first place, right? And play attacking midfielder there or a winger there, right? If you want to play like that, right? Yeah. Other than that, a wing back is nothing more than attacking fullback. That's all they are. So the first priority, you're a wing back. The clue's in back. Back means your first priority, you must be able to defend. You must be able to defend. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in that team, right? So a wing back to me is just an attacking fullback, and I don't like the term. Again, you ask people what a wing back is, and they can't fully explain what a wing back is. I ask people when I want to like just rib them a bit and wind them up a little bit and just say like, well, tell me what a wing back is then. And
I have a feeling you do that a lot. I could see you at the pub just walking up to people watching a game and being like, hey.
These are modern day descriptive poncy narratives that have been brought into the game by chat show hosts on sports programs to add crap to the conversation, basically, because these shows run for 3 hours, and after half hour you might as well switch off because you know the rest is going to be out of BS. You know what I mean? So like they've made all the points of the day. You know?
What's
Well, now
what's
and
wrong with an
that's why we've
old-fashioned
got
right back and left back? You know,
and that's
right back,
why
left
here
back, winger.
at crap of the
That's how
day, at crap of the day, we bring you the same stuff as all those shows, but packaged much better. Honestly, this is you should watch this to get your news. This is much better than those sports shows of which Adrian was speaking. So and okay, we've got Gaz here. He's a new member, a new channel subscriber. Good dude, real good dude. He's always in the comments. Thank you. But yeah, so we've been talking mostly about Hugo. And what he's done for the club, some of our favorite saves from him. We'll get some more of that from Adrian in a second. But Gaz wants to know if what we think of Brennan Johnson, if he'll eventually be like Ange's version of Kyogo. And can I be really, really honest? I don't know that guy or how he was utilized at Celtic. Did any of you guys see enough of Celtic to have accurately answer that question?
The person that I think that'll be closest to Kyogo will be Sonny, and I think Johnson will be more akin to the Jota role that he played at Celtic. And the reason why I say that is Brennan Johnson's probably a good shout in 4 years' time, possibly. If Son stays with us for another 4 years, Son will be the Kyogo player and continue to be in that position. And I feel that Johnson will be the Jota player. Once they make the change and Sonny starts stepping out of the team because he's getting too old or he's lost his form and that, then you've got a possibility that Brennan Johnson or another will then become the Kyogo type of player. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So was Kyogo? Can you explain to me a tiny bit, just really fast?
Kyogo's the number 9. It plays as the number 9 in an Ange system, whereby they get on. They're the sacrificial lamb, so to speak. They do all the running about and stuff like that, and
moving defenders around.
Yeah, but with Kyogo, what happened with Kyogo is that he did that, but Kyogo ended up getting on the end of lots of things and ended up being top goal scorer because he got onto the end of a load of things. He plays with out and out wingers. He played with Jota down one side, and he played with the other one, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But he played with a front three, but predominantly. Sorry.
Hatati.
Did Hatati play as a number 8 and number 10?
Yeah, he's like just behind the front two. He used to link up play just behind the front two with Jota on the wing. And then Kyogo was finishing a load of chances, but he's a very tricky player as well. He's a cross between Matoma and Sonny, I would say, but he's not as. I think Matoma's better.
Okay, I can see where you're going with that. Kind of a smaller, like trickier guy.
But then again, what I will say to Gary to respond to him in his question is that everywhere where Ange has been, to every club he's been to from when he first started out, he's got this philosophy of playing this front foot football. However, he's tweaked it slightly every club he's gone to. The philosophy's still there, but the players that he's tweaked it to play different formations and different systems, but ultimately giving you the same product. So we will get a version of whatever Celtic had last season. We will get that version, but it will be an upgrade in the sense that he would have tweaked it for the Tottenham style of play, but still with the same results. He still wants to play total football.
Yeah, I'm still getting my head around the system, the Ange system. I think there's variables to it because parts of it got me confused. And I'm not in a bad way either, because we were told that like you got 2 inverted fullbacks when the midfielders kick on, the number 8s kick on. Fair enough. We've seen Porro tuck in, and we've seen Emerson play when he tuck in. But Udogi's just been bombing up and down the left to his heart's content. And long may he do it. If that's what he's good at, don't change it. Don't break if it ain't fixed. You know what I mean? Don't break it, right? Yeah. And then when Porro's actually got forward from inverted position, he has switch play with Kulusevski down on the right wing. I've seen them switch play together. Although, questionable, he could have done better with the Burnley goal, because he seems to get caught with his, he gets caught with, in headlights, his eyes in headlights, doesn't he? He doesn't take enough looks around. You should always, as a defender, be looking around your shoulder, looking around. And he doesn't do it. But then you do the other thing. You can try and blame him for the goal or blame him for the goal if you want. And then he puts 2 killer balls through in that game. And that one to Son, if that had been De Bruyne, people have been raving about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, real quick. Kuva's poking at you a little bit, Adrian, and I just wanted to read this out. He said, "Big up everyone, Adrian. There's a huge amount of information online about roles, positioning, and tactics.
I know that, Kuva.
Plenty of people know." And then he's just poking at you. I think it's funny. He put the little wink.
Kuva's a great guy, but I'm sticking with my old-fashioned ways, Kuva.
Yeah.
I mean, you're young enough to be my son, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can I say something about your Doji?
Yeah, Kuva's done so as well here. Yeah.
Adrian made a very good point that he bombs forward. I think Ange has told you Doji, he's seen his skill set, he knows he's fast, he knows he can recover, but he's also knows that Van der Ven is there as well. And he knows that if Doji goes, Van der Ven will cover. And I think on that side, we're a lot stronger than the other side in regards to recovery. Yeah, when we're caught at, you see.
What are you saying about Romero?
Especially.
What are you saying, Romero?
The best center back in the world, according to Lionel Messi.
He's not as fast, Romero.
Oh,
right?
he is.
Van der Ven is speedy. I've seen Romero, right? I've seen Romero struggle to get back, right? But you don't see Van der Ven struggle. He is athletic, that boy. You see, when we played Brentford and Romero was up because he'd gone out of licence and he'd gone up and they got caught. And Van der Ven came right over and done a fantastic tackle. And he clearly won it because he's got recovery, that boy, more so than Romero. I'm not saying Romero's slow.
His legs are like this long. Of course he's fast.
Oh, my God.
His legs are bigger than me.
Seen that. Obviously, he's seen that in training and he trusts Van der Ven.
Yeah, that's what makes him a good partner. Because sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Adrian. I was just saying that he's a good partner because we know that Romero likes to kind of get up the pitch and do some wild stuff sometimes. So having a guy who has the pace to kind of make up for that is imperative, right? You know, that's the partner you need. I think for Romero's got to be fast. Do you agree?
He's not as fast as you think, though. Romero, he's not as quick, as Van der Ven for starters, but he's not slow. But I've seen him get caught out where he's struggling to get back, especially last season and a few times this season where he hasn't got the recovery pace. But Porro, he's very fast, but he just hasn't got the defensive know-how yet. But Adrian said, balls over the top.
You know, you say that, Ellie. Ellie, you say that, but they reckon, and I don't know how true this is because I don't know how you quantify or who gets the stopwatches out. But they reckon Johnson's even quicker than what we've already got.
Yeah, he is.
Now that's frightening. That's frightening because Van der Ven's shit of a shovel, isn't he? God.
Yeah, he's supposedly the fastest player in the league, maybe right under Kyle Walker.
And this is the big difference, isn't it? Because if you look at last season, when you play a low block and you're defending, a lot of time relying on a counter attack, of course your defender's going to be put under more pressure. If they're under more pressure, there's more chance of them making a mistake, isn't there? Now you look, we're playing attack, and they say like attack is the best form of defense. We're pushing up to the halfway line, right? The good thing is we've got a back line so fast that even when defensive teams want to hit through the space down onto the wings, if we pushed up, we've got enough recovery pace in that side to do what Walker's always done at Man City for ages and use our pace to get out of trouble. And how's it turned out? Well, it's turned out that Romero hasn't received a booking this year, which is unheard of. Right? He hasn't had a booking at all. Right? All right, Van der Ven's been lucky. Three balls have come of him and gone in the net, but we don't blame him for them because they weren't through errors. They were just unfortunate situations, right? And then like you got Dogan. So we've got what back four's really got now is pace. So we can push up. We can push up. You know?
Absolutely.
So and it's resulted in less, and we will not. And people turned around and said, "Oh, yeah, but when the system goes wrong this year, be prepared. We will get tonked and all that." No. We'll get beat, but we won't get tonked. And the reason we won't get tonked is because of what I've just said. We've got pace. That's why we won't get tonked. We can't
it's going to be our saving. It's going to be our saving grace.
Yeah, and our pace is going to get us out of so much trouble, right? Or before we won't even know we're in trouble because we've got out of it before it's happened. You know what I mean? So And that midfield's as good as anything in the Premier League. And that's without Bentancur in it.
100%. Bentancur is only going to make it stronger. I'm just worried about the African Cup of Nations and how that'll affect our players. Yeah, especially as I don't really expect either of their teams to win the thing. So you know what I mean. But still, it's possibility for injury. It's just more games on their legs. But real quick, I just wanted to say, Johnny, what up? Thank you for the subscription, my guy. Thanks for subscribing. It means a lot. It helps everything. And if you could slap a like on the video if you haven't, that would be sweet. Just trying to, we're that YouTube algorithm, man. We're trying to beat it. We're trying to best it. So hey, thank you. I really appreciate it. If you got any questions or anything, we get them all up on here, man. And thanks for being part of the crew. Sorry about that, guys. And then, so real quick, Adrian. So could you tell us? So I'm going to forget this if I don't say it right now. We talked a lot about
Brennan Johnson, or
we're talking about Hugo Lloris real quick. Just real quick, I want to go way back. This was before you joined. But we all talked about some of our favorite Hugo moments because it doesn't look like we've all agreed, even though we'd like him to be second choice. The manager has explicitly said that he wasn't going to really be in the team. And, it's looked like he's picked Fraser Forster as second choice when given the option. So just looking back on his career at Spurs, I mean, hopefully he does get a send-off. But, this young man who we watched grow up and become this bearded, beauty. What are some of your favorite saves from him and some of your favorite moments?
The 3 penalties in the same season. He saved the penalty against Aubameyang at Arsenal when we could have lost that game. We drew at Highbury. Yeah. And then at Leicester against Vardy came on to take the penalty and he saved the penalty. And he saved the important penalty in the same season against Man City in the Champions League. And we won that game at home 1-0, didn't we? When Son got
Harry Kane was out.
Yeah. And there was 3 penalty saves, At West Ham away, do you remember the ball he just flipped over the top of the bar? He just clipped it over the bar and got it. That was a good save. I mean, there's been so many. I mean, but
we've been so lucky to have
these saves always stand out, though, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, and are you with us and hoping that he gets a nice he gets to play at least one more match in front of the home fans and get a proper send off? He's been here long enough for a testimonial. I don't think he'll get it, but he deserves one in my opinion. Do you think he'll get a send off?
He'll get I believe he will get a send off.
Maybe subbed in.
I'm not a fan of testimonials for players in the Premier League. They sign a contract now; they're all millionaires. In the past, it was testimonials for players because they earn better than average wages than the average ordinary worker got, but not nowadays. They're on so much.
I get it. It was a money making. The money from the ticket sales, did it go to the player then? Back then, is that what a testimonial was for? I just thought it was
back in the day. It was to raise money because they didn't earn fortunes.
Yeah, then their money making was over after that. I get it. I was just thinking that it was a nice thing to do for players. To say goodbye and let them, a fun thing. I didn't realize. Okay, well, interesting. But yeah, Bex, Hugo Lloris, Spurs legend. He hasn't had, or you spoken about a testimonial for him. Why he hasn't had a testimonial? Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But Adrian pointed out rightfully that testimonials are not exactly what I thought they were. So that is good information.
Yeah, but look, Colin, this is a club that doesn't even honour the best manager we've ever had in our history, Bill Nicholson. We don't even honour him with a name of a statue. Nothing.
Yeah.
And Steve Perryman, they put Harry Kane up, and they don't put Steve Perryman, who's won everything for Spurs apart from the Champions League and the League Championship.
I'm hogging the show a bit here, but I'm not a.
I love it. Hog it all you want.
I'm not actually sure that Levy and the crew actually know too much about Spurs histories. I could do a show here for you, and at a later date maybe, and I'll tell you how Spurs were responsible for the Dutch total football in the 70s. I could go from the 20s onwards. I can talk to you about Vic Buckingham and Peter McWilliam, who was manager of the club twice. I mean, we could go back to when Spurs were an amateur club in the Southern League. They were champions of the Southern League in 1900, and when they were champions in the Southern League, they got buys in the FA Cup. Now, they're only an amateur side, Spurs, and they got through to the final and drew with Sheffield United 2-2 at Crystal Palace's ground. John Cameron, who was manager and captain, who became manager or was manager at the time, I can't recall exactly. It was a 2-2 draw in front of 100,000 people, right, at that game. And then the replay was Bolton's Burnham Park. I think Sheffield United scored first. Cameron scored the second goal. And then Spurs went on to win 3-1. The only amateur club that have ever won the FA Cup, right, in history. It will never happen again.
No one.
But the really important change in the history of football, not for every club, but for Spurs, happened with Peter McWilliam, who was Spurs manager. He did 2 stints at Spurs manager. Peter McWilliam took the game in the early 19th century. He was played for Inverness Thistle for 2 years. Then he went to Newcastle, and he got the nickname of Peter the Great. They won a few league titles, and he lost a couple of FA Cup finals, and he won an FA Cup final before coming to Spurs. And at Inverness Thistle, they had a coach there that taught them to play football on the ground, right? Now, a lot of football back in those days was kick and rush, and the kick and rush still carried on for centuries, but for decades rather, because basically football pitches, you were lucky in the summer, you got grass on your pitch, but they soon cut up and pitches become mud baths. All pitches became mud baths. There wasn't science and technology now to produce these bowling greens we have now, which people play on, which means you get a better style of football. So Peter McWilliam, he comes to Spurs. He takes us out of the second division in 1920, playing this football on the ground, attractive attacking football. Then in 1921, Spurs meet Wolverhampton Wanderers in the FA Cup final. The game is played at Stamford Bridge. Spurs win 1-0 with a second half goal by Jimmy Dimmock. Right?
Dimmock.
The football Spurs is recognised. Middlesbrough offered McWilliam the colossal sum of £1,500 to go and manage him. Didn't quite work out there, but he comes back. He gives debuts to Vic Buckingham and Arthur Rowe. I don't know if you've heard of both of those, right? Yeah. So, and then, he carries on to the war years, thinks he's too old, and he stops. And that's Pete McWilliam done. But Vic Buckingham goes on. He manages the combined Oxford and I don't remember it was the combined Oxford and University teams, which were called Pegasus. Pegasus played Bishop Auckland in the amateur FA Cup final in front of 100,000 people again. There was no cinema or TV back in the day, so people went to any sporting event that was going,
Yeah.
Pegasus win 2-1. In 1954, Vic Buckingham at West Bromwich Albion wins the FA Cup, and they narrowly lose out on the double. Right? Right. Now, but stepping back to the 30s again, Spurs' style of football attracted interest home and abroad. People wanted to try and copy it. And Spurs coaches went to teach the Hungarians, right, in Hungary. This ether leads to where we are now when we get round to the historical football ether, right? So the same Hungarians that came to Wembley after the war and beat England 6-3 at Wembley and then 7-1 in Budapest, right? So back to McWilliam again, Vic Buckingham again, he wins that. So what happens? He becomes manager of Ajax of Amsterdam, right? He wins the Eredivisie with them. I think they come second and all that. He leaves for personal reason, comes back. In 1964, he gives a young Johan Cruyff his debut. Yes. With Cruyff came when McWilliam left. The famous Dutch manager, Rinus Michels, takes over at Ajax, takes on board all of Vic Buckingham's ideas, blends them with his own. Yes. Vic Buckingham becomes manager of FC Barcelona. He wins the Spanish Cup of Generalissimo while he's there, right? And they narrowly lose out on the championship with Valencia, who beat them in a head-to-head match, 2-0 at Barca, and they drew 1-1 at home for them. Vic Buckingham then goes on. He managed Greek sides. I think he might have managed Fulham. I'm not sure. And blah, blah. And that's the end of his story. But he was the pioneer of total football that the Dutch team played in the 70s. No one knows.
I see the connection now.
Right. Yeah. Now, where I'm saying the historical ether of the history of football comes through to today, the Hungarians kept playing their brand of football. They got known as the Magical Magyars, right?
Yeah.
Right. They kept playing, right? And Arthur Rowe, right? He becomes manager of Spurs. And in 49-50, Spurs win the second division championship. In 50-51, the following year, they win the first division championship.
Yes.
Right?
Spurs.
Arthur Rowe, in his side, he's got two fullbacks playing for him who are going to become legendary and famous. One is Alf Ramsey, who wins the World Cup, Sir Alf. And the other one's Bill Nicholson, who wins the double in 1960. When he wins the double in 1960, that's when Vic Buckingham was winning the league with Ajax of Amsterdam, right? Dutch football was very amateurish, so they learned a lot. So was Hungarian previously, right? So then Nicholson wins the double, the FA Cup, and he wins the FA Cup against Leicester City in 60-61, and then we beat Burnley in the chess match final in 62, and then we won the Cup Winners' Cup, which no one said we would win in 1963 because Dave Mackay couldn't play. I think he broke his leg or something like that.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid were already the holders, they'd won it the year before, and Spurs spanked them 5-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So moving on from these Hungarians, you've heard of the Puskás Award, yeah, for the best goal, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Ferenc Puskás, who come through that Hungarian line up to sort of the 60s and all that, he played in Hungary. He was known as the Galloping Major because he was given an honorary title Major in the Hungarian army, right? So he's given that title. And Ferenc Puskás scored 84 goals in 85 international matches.
Brilliant.
Right? In all cup competitions, he scored 618 goals in 619 games. He was the Messi, the Jimmy Greaves of his day, basically, although we had Jimmy Greaves at the time. And he played in that famous Real Madrid side, which had Alfredo Di Stefano and Gento in, the front three, and they won European Cups, right? When Ferenc Puskás retires from football, he has a few coaching jobs. He doesn't do too well, right? This is where the historical, if it gets exciting, you might think we're destined.
I know where you're leading it to.
Yeah, and he ends up in Australia. Competitions in Australia, and his attractive attacking style of football that all come back through from Vic Buckingham and Peter McVillian, that all came through the ether, through that, and evolved to be that. And he's got a player who's deeply impressed with his attacking style of football. One, Angelos Postecoglou.
Come on.
So I hope you like the story.
There you go. Yeah, we made it. We made it all the way back.
It stretched my old memory, but I'm confident I got it right. You know what I mean? So
so brilliant, Adrian. Brilliant.
When Nicholson was there, what happened was, even when pitches were getting a bit better or technology got a bit better, you're still in the 70s when Chivers was playing. I mean, like, teams still played half long ball, some teams did play total long ball. Like Spurs played a mixture in the 70s. It was part long ball to Chivers because he was big up there with Gilzine and Peters, and part because and a lot of the time on the ground as well, because Spurs, part of the main Spurs training was five-a-side football. That's why we always played attractive football when we could, But then, even as you move through to the 80s, people still had, there was a traditional lumpy centre forward up there, and people would play 1-2s with Godwith, you know what I mean, to kick the ball up the field. You still had all that, right? But now, most of it's football on the deck now, because like you've got the pitches to play that sort of football. The reason people played long ball football was because pitches were muddy. But you watch Glenn Oddle on some of the pitches, I remember when he first came in the side, his first game away was away at Stoke, and he scored the second goal. He scored on his debut at Stoke. He scored a lovely goal at Stoke. Brilliant. I think it's video form in my group. I've got lots of Oddle video because I just have to think he's the best football England have ever produced.
By far. By far. Glenn Hoddle was a G. Brilliant.
We get to
1 second, guys.
Hold on. We got to move. We got to move on because he's got to go to work soon. So we've got to move on to the West Ham. So keep or West Ham if he's still going to do it. It's a section of the show that he does.
Yeah, I love this.
So one more, guys. My phone just rang, but we're going to do it.
Modric.
So he's going to give you two players. You give you two players, Adrian. He's going to give us two players, and we've got to decide which one we keep at Tottenham and which one we send to West Ham.
Yeah, and it's bloody difficult.
And it's difficult. Yesterday we had Modric, and who was it? Modric and
Dembele.
Dembele.
I picked Dembele because I love Dembele.
We had Berbatov and Kane. Berbatov and Kane.
I chose Berbatov. I
And
thought Berbatov was fantastic.
Bale and Sonny.
I know, I chose
So
Sonny.
he asks you these questions, and he does it on the show towards the end, and he's got to go to work. He's going to ask.
Hey everybody! Sorry, it's me. I got a work call, but no worries. We're still here. We're playing Keeper West Ham. Everybody, yeah. So, Adrian, I think this is your first time playing. We'll start with an easy one. We'll just go around. We can only have time to do probably 2 here, but we'll start with this one.
Defoe versus Adebayor. I'd give him Adebayor.
Yeah, I said it was an easy one. We'll start with an easy one. But Adebayor scored some important goals for us. He was an important player at times. So yeah, I mean, what have you got on this one? What have you got on this one, Ellie?
100% Defoe. I love Jermaine Defoe. Ishito, you know. Jermaine Defoe. Ishito, you know. What a player. Could take on a player, bang one in, made his own goals. Tap-ins, everything. He had the whole lot. You know, he was a very good footballer as well as a good striker. You know, so Jermaine Defoe, 100%.
Yeah. I figured that was what it was going to be. And I'm going to guess, Jose, you're gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, Defoe for me. Keep Defoe at Tottenham. Send Adebayor to West Ham. Adebayor served the purpose for half a season, and the purpose that he served then bought us Harry Kane.
That's right.
Well, this one I don't have a banner for, and this is going to be the final one. They're normally not this obscure, but we're going to go Paulinho versus Lewis Holtby. Neither of them did very much for the club, so it's pretty hard.
Really?
But yeah, everybody. Whoa, real quick. Hotspur says keep Adebayor. Beck says keep Adebayor. Beer talk agrees Defoe. Oh wait, now Hotspur says Defoe. I don't know which one's going with, but okay. So Holtby or Paulinho? Start with Ellie on this one.
Paulinho, because he had more about him than Holtby. Holtby was just like I call him a nothing player. He doesn't really do a lot. Doesn't affect the game as much as he should do. He's a box-to-box midfielder, really, wasn't he? He wasn't really a brilliant footballer, but Paulinho had something about him, and we got him on the back of the World Cup where he won. I think he won an award there as well, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Best midfielder or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, he didn't show what he could have shown for us, but I still vote him better.
Straightforward for me. Yeah, Paulinho I'm keeping. He was a better all-round player than Holtby, even though we didn't get to see his best. His best was when he left and went to other clubs. And Holtby was, I don't know, he was a disguise. He was somebody else and had the name because he definitely weren't a footballer.
So that just leaves you. That just leaves you.
At that time, you had Sigurdsson was fighting for a place with Holtby at the 10, and you also had Eriksson. Was it? No, it's pre-Eriksson, was it?
Sure. No, I think that was right when Eriksson came. No, it might have been 1 year before.
Tail end when Eriksson came.
Tail end, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there was competition. So we got. I didn't think Holtby was a bad player, actually. I mean,
no, he scored the one goal. I think I forget who it was against now, but he got one nice goal for us.
I could score.
And I was disappointed when Paulinho went. Again, the fans were on his case, but I saw a player in him. I mean, he ended up playing with Barcelona, didn't he? So he couldn't have been that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
And
he wasn't. He never really showed it here. You know what I mean? He never really was that at Spurs, but that's okay. You know, I remember a really funny scuff shot that he had.
Remember his goal then? The back hill at Cardiff.
Oh, that was sick. And it was the winner too. It was the winner too.
We've rattled through the first two. Have you got a third one or not?
No, that was
right.
so I could think of one. Hold on, let me dig really deep into my inner Spurs fan here, and let's go with here's another weird one. Benoit Asuakato or Jake Livermore. I love Disco Benny, as I called him. I loved him a lot. So that one, it's easy for me. But they both were, players that weren't great. So
Jake's at Palace now, isn't he?
Is he?
No, Watford. Oh, he's at Watford. He's at Watford.
I think Livermore was the Tottenham product, wasn't he? But
yeah, he was supposed to be a big deal. I mean,
I think the better player and the person who did more for Tottenham was Benny. I'd keep Benny, and I'm sending Jake to West Ham.
Well, wow. I trained a lot in my past in the gym, and I don't know Jake Livermore because he wasn't born at the time, but I trained with his dad for quite a while. He was British powerlifting champion.
No way.
And I played with Jimmy and trained with him quite a while. So the only time I caught a glimpse of Jake playing actually was in that European game when he came on a substitute. He did okay actually, and that's before he went to Hull with. I remember talking to his uncle at the train station, and Jake was on about 30 grand a week at the time. And I said, "What's happening, Jake, down here? Is he going to get some time? What's going on?" You know, because I'd lost all my contacts at Spurs, and like he'd gone, "Oh, well, they've offered him another 10 grand a week to keep him happy," but it didn't stop him and Tom Huddleston from going to Hull. You know, eventually he went, you know, to get more game time, obviously. You know, but so.
Yeah.
So
I mean, were you a Benoit Asuakato fan? Sorry, I've been getting the work email and I've been trying to answer that. But were you a Benoit Asuakato fan? Were you a big fan of him at left back?
He was all right. He was unusual, wasn't he? He actually came out and said a bit like Ben White's done at Arsenal. I don't really love football. Was in it for the money, wasn't he? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
yeah. He was good at it, and he
looked a good fullback. I mean, you're comparing a midfielder with a fullback, so it's like, again, it's like fans always do this. They compare apples with oranges, don't they? You know, I mean, like.
But that's Adrian. That's your choice. You got to take one, and one's
Colin, I'm going to have to flip-flop and sit on the fence and recuse myself from this situation because I've got an interest in one of the players. Right? So,
okay. That's fair. You know, there's personal biases. Well, that's good. Okay. Yeah. Well, normally Keeper West Ham is much more fun and much better than this. I'll quickly go through these comments before I log off.
I'm going to keep Benoit Asuakato and send Liverpool to West Ham.
Yes. Benny was a machine. A big part of Bale becoming Bale. Right. Agreed. Disco Benny did fairly well for us. Livermore had a great attitude, but just wasn't great. Benny easily keeps, says Gaz. Appreciate you, Gaz. Go back one. We see Holtby appeals to the ladies. He was a pretty kid. You know, he had a nice smile on him. Beck said that Benny hated football. He couldn't care less. It was just a wage to him, 100%. But I love that. That the fact that he was honest about that too goes a long way with me. But you guys, I am gonna have to end the show, unfortunately, and get logged into work and everything. I work from this exact chair, thankfully, so I don't have to go far. But I do want to say to everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We do this every single day. Usually it's at 3 today. I was kind of moving around. It's going to be between 3 and 4-ish daily. It's called Crap of the Day. Today we talked a little bit about Hugo Lloris. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. I also have a Patreon down here because I am not a YouTube affiliate yet. I can't do all that stuff. I can't have super chats and all that junk. So if you want to just chuck me a couple bucks a month to try to help make the channel better, help me get a better mic. I want to do some things with like a set. You're helping keep the lights on and helping me do this and it, if you want to, but you don't have to, but the link is there. I feel really weird doing that. So anyway, you guys all we're beating Sheffield, right? Real quick before we go.
We're beating Sheffield
Yeah,
for battering
6-1.
them. I said 4-1. 4-1.
I think it's gonna be 2-1, but I think we'll still
3-0.
3-0. Okay, we'll see.
4-1.
Well, everybody remember your bets.
4-1.
I'll see y'all tomorrow, and then Saturday
see
we
you,
play.
Colin.
Thanks for having
Just-
me on.
Thank
Colin.
you for having
Thank
us.
you, Colin.
Thank you for having us, Colin.
Thank you guys for
And
being on
thank you for the
Elsa's show.
history lesson, Adrian. Fantastic.
Likes,
I
likes,
learned
subscribe.
Absolutely
I get the
stunning.
feeling, Elliot, I'm going to have to repeat that history lesson on a few podcasts. You know what I mean? Once
Yeah,
they hear from
definitely.
you,
I'll
and
be
they'll
there.
tell.
Do you know what? I'll never get
Man,
tired.
love
of
you too.
sitting
Love
through
you too,
that,
guys.
Adrian. I'll never get tired of sitting through that. Brilliant.
I am on Twitter,
Absolutely
Gary Bex.
stunning.
You can find me on Twitter. And have I got a name on here?
Thanks, Johnny. I appreciate all you guys. Okay, though, I really do have to go, but come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs! Come